stream. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. We have Melinda and Harry's mom with us, and Prena. How are you doing, Melinda? Oops. Robin is getting ready. She's in Oregon in a fire forest fire area. So she's ready to bug out at any moment. Very, very well, thank you. So today we are going to do. Hi, Ronald. Ron from Unconditional Love Tarot. Don't forget to visit his channel if you haven't already. He spreads the love. It's all about love. So, do you guys have any questions or suggestions of questions as it pertains to the LGBTQ community and things that they might encounter? Handsome run. There you go. We're a little bit late, actually. We were planning on starting at 12:30, but Robin is in the bug out area, and she has no air conditioning, so it's going to get very, very warm where she's at. And I also have an appointment, an impromptu, that's a mouthful for a French girl. An appointment that was not scheduled, a last minute appointment. So we thought we'd start a little bit earlier just in case we go longer. And just so you know, in case there's some kind of a gibberish comment appearing from me, that's not my fault. It's all Bebe's fault because Bebe has discovered the keyboard. You live in an LGBT area. So you, Melinda, you probably are aware of a lot of issues that they are encountering. Good. We are going to talk about Carl Nazib or Nesbit, something, Nazib. And he's coming out. We are also going to talk about the Catholic Church and how welcoming they can be with the LGBTQ community. When are they going to join us in the 21st century? Vaccines and the advancement or lack thereof in the vaccine for the HIV/AIDS virus, and how the COVID vaccine discoveries can help in that area. We're going to read about that. We also are going to be talking about transgender and the difficulties someone who is in a transition has to go live through. Whoa, I need to say that one. I'm in Italy. A few years ago, a guy was stopped for driving while gay. Apparently, they weren't allowed to have what? I'm sorry, pardon my ignorance. What's a DL? Driving. I'm sorry, I don't know what DL is. Driving while gay. My goodness. And we are in the 21st century. I had a discussion with during my the Father's Day lobster party at my brother's house. And as you know, my brother is very religious, and he has some very arrested ideas. Drivers, what? They weren't allowed to have a driver's license because they were gay. We need to talk about gays' rights, not only in the United States and Canada, but all over the world. Oh my God, that is pathetic. That is pathetic. Hold on one sec. I just need to check something. Um, Robin is about ready to join us. And of course, I forgot to send her the link. So I just sent her the link. Sorry about that. That was the law. Is it still the law in Italy that they cannot have a driver's license, or did they smarten up? I'm sorry, I'm being judgmental here and biased, but wow. It is no wonder people are afraid of coming out. As I was saying, I was at my brother's house, and my niece, my goddaughter, she's 10 years old, and she basically, it's treated like marijuana. She basically asked questions about being gay and love in general. And my brother said, "Well, you know, when you're gay, it's not natural. It's basically a disease or something like that." And I looked at him. I couldn't say anything in front of his daughter, but I wanted to smack him. I have a violent tendency sometimes. And so I basically, um, she basically said, well, Dad, love is love. It doesn't matter if you have a penis or a vagina or something like that. I could not believe it. Okay, so Robin is about to join us.
Hold on.
Hi,
Can you
Robin.
hear me?
Yes, we can. Can you guys hear Robin? Can you see her?
One sec.
We can see you. You look beautiful.
It's weird. Can you hear me?
We
Yes?
can
No?
hear you. Yes.
I can't hear you.
Okay, go into the mute button. There's the at the bottom of your screen, you have like the Mute, stop cam. You might be on mute. Oh, you can't hear us. Cam, Mitch. The joy of learning live stream, guys. It's select this. Okay. We lost Robin. She'll be back. And we will then proceed. Sorry. Go into your cam setting. Okay. So, hi, Salma. Thanks for joining us. Okay, so I'm going to start and Robin will join us. So it is 12:36 and we can say that we can mention to everyone that that's when we started looking up at questions. Are you there, Robin?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. I have
If
to
you could just move a little bit and then we'll see you. Yeah. You had some problems with the computer?
Yes, I'm using the computer that I didn't want to use.
So we'll see half your face.
Yeah, let me do something really quick. I'll sit on a pillow.
Oh, okay.
I'm very short. The laptop is better, but I couldn't get any audio. So there you go.
Yeah.
There we go.
There you go. That's better. So thank you very much for your support, Tom. I really appreciate that. Thank you all for joining us. And so it's 13:46. And we are ready to go. So, Robin, why don't you talk to us? Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Robin. My YouTube channel is White Mountain Dreaming, which is what I wrote. It's been a channel for, oh my goodness, probably over 10 years now, but I haven't really posted anything in the last year or two. It started when I moved to Mount Shasta. And I actually developed some cards when I was there.
Ooh.
White Mountain Dream Oracle. So one of the names for Mount Shasta is White Mountain.
Oh.
And so, yeah, they're pictures from the area.
Yes.
And what I like about this deck, I'm sorry, I have to get used to this. What I like about the deck is some of the pictures I took, some of the pictures of friends took, and then some of the pictures are from a nature photographer in the area.
Oh my God, it's beautiful.
Thank you. And I actually developed them kind of for 2012, the big reveal of 2012. And what I did was, they're very simple messages. They're only one-word messages, like that symbiosis.
Okay.
So they're really meditation cards more than anything. They're not really oracle cards. I call them the oracle because people would understand that. But there were three reasons why I put them together. Just get used to the camera. The first one was to help with meditation.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody just needed something to meditate on, that's why there were one word messages. The second thing is a lot of people were visiting Mount Shasta during that time, and everybody goes to the mountain, but there's very magical places all over that area. So I kind of put together this deck to be like an inner GPS system. Like, where do you need to go to find, the truth, or to find spirituality or the epiphany that you're looking for? So each of these cards is a specific location.
Oh, wow.
And then the third way that you can use the cards is actually as more like an oracle. Like, basically, what is it that I need to do right now? I need to stand still.
Okay.
So I brought these out because I figured as we were doing our questions, I could do it like as a final card, something to think about at the end.
Yes, that would be a very good idea. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Like I was telling people, today we're going to talk about LGBTQ community topics and issues. And we have a few ideas, but if you guys have any suggestions for us, please write the questions in all caps so that we can see them. And yes, if you could, thank you, Thelma. If you could please subscribe, ring the bell, that would be great. I listen to a few videos from Robin's channel, and they're beautiful. They're really beautiful. Very, very beautiful. The energy is very calm, and it's very nice. I like it.
Thank
So,
you.
the first one that we had was about Carl Nassib coming out. I think he's in the NFL. And you were mentioning earlier that he had donated $100,000 to the Trevor Project. The NFL did the same. They matched him. And since then, you said that the view on their website is up by 350%. Isn't that amazing? I get chills just thinking about it.
And the Trevor Project started, the story behind Trevor is that he was a college student who was, he loved the violin, he loved classical music, but he was an introvert. And he basically was bullied. He was in the dorm at his university, and he was bullied by his dorm mates. And he was actually filmed, I believe, having an encounter with another young man. And then it was posted. So he was basically outed that way. And I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but what happened was he got so depressed he jumped off a bridge. Because for LGBTQ youth, it's still true. There's very few support systems to talk about these things. And they have, statistically speaking, the youth have a very high suicide rate. Yeah. So the Trevor Project was formed by the family. And it is for youth to discuss mental health issues and depression and what it means to come out when you're not in an area that's very accepting.
Yeah.
So it was a really great organization for the football player to give to.
Yeah. Yeah. It was very nice, and it is so important. I was looking at stats about the difficulties the LGBTQ people are facing and how they're having difficulties finding support services, how they're being discriminated against, even by their doctors, for crying out loud. So the one question that I had, and I'm sure more are going to come out following this, is, there were other people that came out, other professional athletes that came out, and unfortunately, they got the boot in a way. There was Collins from the NBA that came out, and he played professionally only a few more days, and then he had to leave. Michael Sam was the first drafted openly gay person, and he was seen kissing his boyfriend when he was drafted.
Hmm.
And they basically released him from his contract a year later.
Hmm.
So my question is, Carl Nazib, is he going to have a more positive fate coming out as a professional athlete? Is he going to be discriminated against the same way the others were, or is he going to be continuing to have a prosperous career in the NFL?
Well, this is interesting. I just did a 3 card spread. I just used the basic rider weight. Oops. So the first one is the moon upside down. So
Yeah,
I think that everyone is quite confused right now and not knowing what to do. It's really triggering a lot of people. Not so much the football player. I think he's very centered, but I think it's triggering a lot of people. And what I'm getting is, in football, there's a lot of stuff that happens in the locker room. The football players spend a lot of time in the locker room, and
yeah,
it's same sex. And all of a sudden, what are these football players that are heterosexual and maybe homophobic going to do?
right.
So I think that's where the reversed moon is coming in. It's like everyone's a little confused right now. Also,
Yeah,
he's been playing. It's not like he just started. So it's now all these little cogs are turning in people's minds. Like
yeah,
when I slapped his butt in the locker room, which is what did that mean?
yeah, yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah,
it's really on them. It's not on him. I think he was very professional at all times, but now people are starting to think, and what I'm sensing is they're almost afraid to say anything because of the climate now, the political climate.
yeah.
But the second card was, I'm sorry guys, is the Eight of Swords reverse. So he feels free. He feels
Yeah,
free. Um,
yeah,
and the good news is, luckily we end with good news. It is the Queen of Swords. So wisdom. She's kind of the hard mother, she's fair, she's just, but she's not necessarily warm and fuzzy.
no.
So what I get is people will accept it because they kind of have to in 2021.
Well, what I got was the Knight of Pentacles. And I see him, like, I call that the knight that goes nowhere, but he goes somewhere still because he's hard at work. I think that the way you were talking about him being centered and being um, okay with this, I see his 2 feet firmly on the ground. Really, that's how I look at him, as being the horse. My feet are on the ground. I am who I am, and I'm not gonna budge. Like you said, people don't know how to take this with the high priestess. I see some people behind the scene not knowing. There are some secrets out there that they don't know what to do about this, how to take him. There are people that are in the closet thinking, should I or should I not come out? There's a lot of things going on behind the scene that we don't know about.
Yeah.
And I got the Eight of Cups. So this could be one of two things. He could be walking away voluntarily, or others could be walking away voluntarily because they don't want to accept him. Or, yeah, I think that he might, there might be a chance that he walks away, but I'm not entirely sure. I like your ending better. I like your ending better.
Well, I mean, he could choose to just not come back at the end of the season. I mean, the NFL season hasn't even begun. Maybe he'll go one more season and then choose to retire.
Yeah, yeah. So maybe that's what it is. Um, Catherine Hepburn was rumored to be lesbian. Is she a lesbian? From what I understand, she was not a lesbian. She was in a relationship with another actor. I can't remember his name.
Spencer Tracy.
Yes, who was married
Yes. And
and
Catholic.
Catholic. So they were basically, um, how do you call them?
Soulmates?
Soulmate. Yeah, thank you. They were basically soulmates, I think, and she was there until he passed, and then she moved on from then. But no, she was not a lesbian, from what I understand.
I think that Katharine Hepburn was probably, if she lived right now, I think she would be considered sexually fluid
Oh, okay.
and gender fluid. I mean, the thing is, I come from a long line of matriarchs. And and we're very independent women, and we don't feel the need to be in partnership, like lifelong
Hmm.
partnerships. I think that she comes from similar stock. So there's a real wild woman streak. That's what I call it.
Yeah,
But she was a very private person. She could have had other relationships that we didn't know about. The only reason why we know about Spencer Tracy is that they were both public personas.
yes,
And it was very obvious, that they were together because,
yeah,
I mean, they couldn't hide it. But I know that it was a very tumultuous relationship. And
yeah,
towards the end, it was more about being companions than lovers. But you're right, they were absolute soulmates. They could have even been twin flames. Um,
yeah,
so,
yeah, yeah. So, sexually fluid, what do we mean by that when we say that a person is gender fluid? So, basically, is it like being bisexual or being basically you are with the one you love, or you basically are not really interested in having relationships that get to a point where it becomes intimate? What does that mean?
well, there's gender fluidity where your gender, like when they use the pronouns they, them, that's a gender fluid person.
Okay.
Um, I think you're talking about sexually fluid.
Okay. There you go. That's a different thing.
Did I say? Well, yeah, I did say that Catherine is gender fluid. You're right, I did. Um, so, sexually fluid is meaning that you don't want to be pigeonholed into one sexuality. You're not straight, you're not gay, you're not bi.
Okay.
There's just aspects of your sexual being, your sexual nature that is attracted to different things. And those things could be in a male body, could be in a female body, could be
Okay.
in a sexually fluid body. Um,
Okay.
actually, it's a relatively new term, and I have to thank Oprah
Me
for
too.
this. She
Okay.
actually brought a guest out that talked about it, maybe when she still had a show. And it was kind of a new concept because everybody up until that point thought they had to be one or the other.
Yeah.
But luckily we live in a time now where we can just be totally open in our sexuality, and we don't have to be defined as one or the other or the other.
Okay. Okay.
I hope that
So,
helps.
yeah, it does. It does. So, um, what is, do we know if there are going to be any other professional athletes that are going to come out anytime soon?
That's a good question. Do you
Yeah,
want to start so I can adjust my chair a little bit?
no problem.
Okay. Sorry, guys. Sorry, chat room.
I just want to check something. Ah, yeah, that's a good point. Okay. Yeah. Many times people would get together so the opposite sex would not know. So, are we going to have any more professional athletes coming out anytime soon? Yes, please, could you hit the like button? That would help our channel. That would very, very much help. Thank you. And it would be nice to continue these discussions on the discussion pages of each channel or either channel so that we can sensitize people to the LGBTQ community because there are still a lot of misunderstanding, I think, and bad information and lies sometimes coming out about the community. Okay, I think the cards are gone crazy now. Yes, there are going to be more people coming out soon. I got the Wheel of Fortune in the yes position, and then I have the Nine of Cups where people are going to be more comfortable with this as time goes on. Um, the Six of Pentacles, maybe more people are going to be more generous towards the community. And what I mean by that is not necessarily with money, donations, and stuff like that, but more open. I don't see any tower moment. The tower is in the no position, so I don't see any tower moment coming up. Um, Six of Cups with the Wheel of Fortune. So things are going to move in the right directions. People are going to evolve. There's going to be, often that card is seen as nostalgia, but in this case, I see it as okay, there is a lot of nostalgia, but it's moving in the right direction finally. Um, it is important, though, that we be careful not to delude ourselves. It is difficult to come out of the closet. It is very difficult. So let's not delude ourselves with that. Um, and the Six of Wands, um, yeah, it is going to be tough coming out, but it is something that is not necessarily going to be a tower moment anymore because it's in the no position and associated with a tower. So it's not going to be like all hurrahs for them, but it's not going to necessarily mean the end of their career. What do you get?
I actually got something a little bit different. I got the King of Pentacles and the Queen of Wands reversed.
Oh, okay.
And so what I get from that is that there's going to be a whole wait and see attitude after um, this
Yes.
individual has come out to see what happens. I mean, on one hand, we have people that are much more open to the idea of being gay. But
Yeah.
then we also have, at least in the US, I know you're in Canada, in the US, we have this like subculture of extremely conservative people who are very influential at this point. So
Okay.
I think that other gay athletes are really just going to wait it out a little bit to see what happens with him. And the reason why I say that is that there's the 10 of Wands. So two things about the 10 of Wands. It's like it's a burden. Obviously, it's a burden for
Yes, it is.
anyone who has to be in the closet. It's a burden on their lives. But on the other hand, the 10 of Wands is talking about like a critical. It's reached critical mass. There's so many wands in that figure's hands that they're going to just fall. It's like, it's too much to bear, so they'll all fall down. So I think that more people will come out.
Yeah.
Because it's just their truth and they can't hold it in any longer. But I also feel that there's a real hesitation right now because this is very new. This is like 2 days old, I think.
Yeah.
I think that other athletes will see what the NFL is doing. So far, they've been very positive about the whole thing. But like I said, the season hasn't started yet. At least I don't think it has. So it's up to, the dollars and cents. Like, is the American public going to support this team? He's in Las Vegas, now that they have an openly gay football player. So I think that it's just a wait and see for now.
Yeah, I think it is going to happen, but they're not all going to run out and say, "Hey, I'm gay." I don't think it's going to happen tomorrow. That's for sure. So yeah, it is a burden. It is very, very difficult. Shall we move on to what did we say we would move on to first? Sorry, so organized today. Do we want to do AIDS, the AIDS vaccine, or do we want to move on to the church? Which one would you prefer to start with?
We had a question about transgender. So since we're still talking about sexuality, we should go there, and then we should, I think, move to the
you're right.
AIDS crisis. Yeah. So I think your question was about acceptance of transgender people. Would there be greater acceptance? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's see what's happening.
I looked up some stats, and it is very difficult for people to get any kind of support. I was so flabbergasted, especially for our youth.
Mm-hmm.
We need to, when we have young people coming out, we really need to be very, very supportive, go out of our way to be supportive for them.
I got the
Byron.
The Page of Swords, which makes sense because it's a youthful card. A lot of transgender people thinking of transitioning are youth, young adults. What's really interesting about the Page of Swords is there's only 2 cards in the tarot that have the swords cut off at any point, and this is one of them. Which means like something is not complete. The pages are also the students, the court cards that are like the students, the learners. A page learns because it's connected to the to air, that they are more intellectual. So it is about learning more about what it means to be transgendered. So that's what I got. And then the second card is the Ace of Cups, which is love in all its forms, which means there will be greater acceptance. I guess once we start understanding more about what it means to be transgender. Kind of like when homosexuality first started being discussed, it used to be a mental illness, but after a while people realized as they were learning more about it, that it's a choice, that it's biological, that there's really nothing you can do about it, and it is what it is. And so I think it's true also with transgendered individuals. I think we need to learn more about them and why a person would feel transgendered. And then once we're educated, then we can have more acceptance, which I think is what the Ace of Cups is about. And then the last card is victory, the Six of Wands. So yes. I mean, when I was younger, I didn't think gay marriage would ever happen, and I was wrong. I mean, I'm very happy to be wrong.
Yes, I know. Me too. I got my first card is the devil. Mm-hmm. Transgender, being considered, like you said, homosexuality being considered an illness, and being also considered a sexual disease, a sexual addiction. That's unfortunate, but that's what it was. That's what it is still considered from for many people, unfortunately. I think that when we are specific to transgender, this vision of people transitioning is still very much widely um, considered that way. I think that people are looking at this and thinking that it's an illness still. But I see a renewal.
Oh,
I
you
see a change of heart. I see that this is in the process of changing. I then got the Knight of Sword. I think that more people are going to basically move towards that because they feel that way. But some of them, and we were discussing that earlier, some of them may be rushing too quickly sometimes into transitioning to the other gender. And when I got clarifiers, that's basically what I see. Some people feel trapped and they feel that they sometimes may feel trapped because they think that they are a man trapped in a woman's body and vice versa. And they feel that it is very painful to feel that way. Um, and like we said before, they sometimes take very drastic decisions that may hurt them. So, again, a renewal here um, in the health, on the health aspect of things. I see that they are going to take more time to help people transitioning properly so that they are doing the right thing for them. So, a change of heart, but also a renewal for the people going through these transitions so that they're doing the right thing for themselves. So that's basically what I got. And what else? You were mentioning earlier in Washington State, people going to there sometimes so that they can be themselves and they can live a weekend away, maybe as they're not really transgender. Is transvestite an appropriate word to use in that situation? Or
it was a documentary that was done a while ago, at least 5 or 6 years ago. So I'm not sure if they're still doing it, but basically it was older gentlemen who, were very uncomfortable in their bodies, had always been uncomfortable in their bodies their entire life, but they were raised at a time where they didn't know if they were homosexual. Didn't know if they were heterosexual because they had these labels. Transgenderism has always been around, but it wasn't ever talked about when they were younger. So they were living very deep in the closet. So I was talking about this one little town in Washington State that opened the town so that they could have like a convention, like a prom, and they could dress in women's clothing for those 3 days without any fear of retribution and without their families knowing.
yeah. So are we for the older generations that are still in the closet? Are we going to be able, how can we better help that generation to come out of the closet and be able to live the life that they were meant to live as gay, lesbian, gender fluid, transgender? How can we better help them? What kind of things can we do for them?
Do you want to do a reading on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello, Lisa. Someone I follow stated that the decision we make in non-physical to change from male to female between lifetime is not easy, and that it can take more than one life to make the transition, hence the in-between feelings on this plane.
I had a psychic friend tell me that her theory is that perhaps the call of changing gender could be that in our previous lifetime we were the other gender.
Yeah, that's very
That we
possible.
still have a memory of that, so we still want that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Knight of Wands, going forth quickly, but if you look at the card, the salamanders are not complete. They're not. They usually swallow their tails, or at least in this deck, the salamanders still have their little space between the tails. So moving forth quickly and almost recklessly without kind of thinking everything through. Then we have the Knight of Cups, and he's reversed, and he's like the Prince Charming, but he's reversed. And there was a book in the 70s called The Naked Civil Servant by a guy named Quentin Crisp, who was a cross-dresser at the time, a very flamboyant homosexual at the time. And he said, I love this quote, "There is no knight in shining armor." So what he meant is for, the gay lifestyle, you have this idea of being swept off your feet, but it's not going to happen.
No.
And the last card is the Tower.
Oh.
So I think it's a real shakeup, psychologically, physically, emotionally, when you're older and you were raised in like my generation or later. It's a completely different mindset, and some people can do it and some people can't. And I think the Knight of Wands is saying, some people will run into it, just because, finally I can like express myself, but it may not work out for them because of their preconceived notions that everything in their life is going to be perfect, if once they do that. And it's not the case.
Yeah. Well, I got the Five of Pentacles reversed. Basically, at first, like you said, they see this as being a welcome change. Things are going to be better for them. But I think that they come to a realization, like you said, that it's not, but also their entourage is not able to adapt as quickly to their coming out as they would like it, and that is what is causing trouble. It's they're expecting so much from their families and friends that, and they're not getting what they need. So basically, that's what's causing trouble. And they, even though this card is in reverse, I see that they eventually end up breaking up with them or leaving, basically going back into the closet. So it's very unfortunate. All right. Do we want to move towards science or religion?
Maybe science, since we're because we've been kind of emotionally charged so far.
Yeah.
And religion is emotionally charging as well.
Yes, it is.
So science.
Let's do science. So what we want to know is about the HIV/AIDS vaccine and how basically it's been stalled since the trials in Thailand. They had a vaccine that they were testing on animals, but also they couldn't get they couldn't get to the point where they could test on humans because their success rate with animals was about 30 to 38% from what I've read. And we haven't heard much since. So unless you know something I don't, we haven't heard too much since. So with the um, opportunities that we've had with the COVID vaccination discoveries, they're now using RNA technology. Is this going to jumpstart the searches on the HIV and AIDS vaccines? So that would be the question.
When was the study done that you're talking about?
That was a long time ago. It was in the early 2000s,
Okay.
if not the late 90s. I think it was, I seem to recall 2006. I should have written down the date, but it was in the early 2000 that they ended the trial.
So it starts off well.
Good.
Yeah, the Ace of Swords. So research, science, working towards a new type of vaccine. AIDS or HIV is a retrovirus. It's not the same as the COVID virus, unfortunately. So
Okay.
I don't think mRNA, their research in that is going to help much. But I'm not a scientist, so I don't know.
Okay.
Second card, however, dun dun dun, Card of Sorrow. So it might be that they're trying, but nothing's working, and they are stuck.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I get.
Right now there's the Queen of Wands and the Four of Wands. So there is this. There is going to be a new rejuvenation, if you will, of the research, and they're going to use the basis of the COVID virus or vaccines. They're going to do researches. I just feel like two countries, France being one of them, probably the United States, the other one, that is going to do that is going to take the leadership role in this. France, the U.S. I say that because money, U.S. has more money than the other country, but they're going to take a leadership role in this. But they're going to hit. This is the Wheel of Fortune and the Six of Pentacle. That was in the maybe position. So they're going to hit a wall and they are going to struggle with it because they are not looking at something that is obvious. There's something obvious that they are not looking at. I don't know what that is. They've seen this in the past and they disregarded it. So they need to go back to their old research to bring it back into the new one. Basically, go back to the old research results and bring in the new technology, if you will, the new discoveries that we've made since then. Like, I'm talking researches back from the 80s. My cousin passed away from AIDS, and he was a research subject, or I don't like to use that word, but he was one who was testing medicines and for people with AIDS. He lived with AIDS for 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
So he lived a very long time, but
I'm sorry
so
to hear about his passing.
thank you. Well, that was a very long time ago, and he had a good life. Yeah.
So I just looked at the statistics on this during the height, and I'm sorry, I live on a busy street, so if you hear a big truck, it is a big truck. It's a huge truck. So 1.8 million people at the height of the AIDS crisis died per year. That's huge. Because,
Yeah.
we're talking about COVID and it's 500,000 people in the US. So
Yeah.
1.8 million people worldwide. Right this year, the current statistic is 640,000. which is nothing to sneeze at, but they look at it as an improvement. But this means that AIDS is still an issue in other continents, specifically Africa, where it is not a gay disease. It is passed along through men because they frequented prostitutes or in their travels, and it was passed on that way. And they don't have the type of drugs that the US and the Western world has. Right now there's a cocktail that people take so that the viral load is so low it's undetectable, and that's why I think they weren't rushing for a vaccine. But there's parts of the world that don't have that cocktail. It's a very expensive cocktail.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm really hopeful. It makes sense what you said, that there's something really obvious that maybe 20 years ago when they were trying to get this vaccine started, maybe we didn't have the technology then to understand what that piece of information was.
That's right. You're right, Thelma. This gay HIV/AIDS is not a gay disease. It is a very bad disease, and it affects everyone. Everyone. There are people, straight or gay, that are dying from this disease. It is just easier for a man to transmit it to another person than it is for a woman to transmit it to another person.
But it's also, it used to be transmitted through blood transfusions before there was testing of the blood. So, I mean, so that can happen as well. It can be transmitted through drug use.
Yeah.
The thing is, there are enough drugs on the market right now, at least in the Western world, and if people have enough money to buy them. There are drugs out there that can control the virus. But however, there's large parts of the world, I don't want to get emotional, that don't have that luxury. They don't have the finances to pay for those drugs.
There is also a lot of misconceptions in countries south of the Sahara. I think that's what it means, sub-Saharan countries, where they don't believe the disease exists, or even if they know that the disease exists, they don't believe in vaccines and the medicines from the West.
Kind of like COVID.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that is so true. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it's interesting that the person who was spearheading AIDS, and brought it to the forefront and educated people that it is a health crisis, not a lifestyle, crisis, was Dr. Fauci, and he is heading COVID. He actually, that's his claim to fame, is he headed up the U.S. Part of the AIDS research and really advocated for AIDS drugs. So he was very instrumental. And he's working on COVID. So, I mean, I think that's why all of this is coming up again. And it's the 40th anniversary of the AIDS crisis.
Is he going to go back to HIV/AIDS research?
Let's ask. That's a really good question. Because he's the man.
Yeah.
Or the person. Let's not be sexist.
Emotional.
I think he wants to.
Okay.
The Seven of Pentacles reversed. I think he's anxious to do so. But he just may not have the backing anymore to do it. For him specifically. And he might feel very unhappy, because he does have a wealth of knowledge about HIV and AIDS. But I don't think that people are going to give him the opportunity again. I think there's still, it's so interesting because there's still such a stigma with AIDS and HIV, less so than, when it first started, but that's because less people are dying from AIDS, and they're living with HIV, and it doesn't get to the point where it becomes AIDS. But, it's funny because COVID is a completely different animal.
Yes.
because it's a mainstream virus. Anybody can get COVID. I think all the focus is on COVID. I don't think he's going to get the support if he presented a proposal saying, asking for some funding and some time to work on AIDS again.
Yeah, because AIDS being an STD, yeah. I see that he's not going to be returning to it now. And he's very disappointed about it too. He might wish to go back, but he's not. And I think that the things that happened with COVID and what happened in the news created really shook him up, and it shook up the trust that we had in him. And even though that's basically what he wants, he might do it behind the scene. He's going to be alone doing it, and he's very disappointed about that. So yeah, I don't think he's going to do it either. So it's 10 after 1. Do we want to do one last question?
We could do, yeah. Could we do like a general reading for the week, maybe?
Yes.
Okay, let's do that.
I'm going to get my clown cards just so we can get some humor back.
You know what? That's a good idea. I'm going to use my Kyle Gray Oracles.
Thelma, there was a question from Melinda. I'm sorry, Melinda.
Saying about Fauci and Dr. Judy M. Was there a thief, and where is she? Let me see.
He stole Dr. Judy M. research on AIDS.
Oh.
I didn't know that. I hadn't heard that.
I didn't either. Okay, I'll do it really quick if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, I'm not going to show the cards just in the interest of time. What I'm getting is he didn't steal. They collaborated, but he took the credit.
Typical. Sorry.
Typical. Also, this is 40 years ago, and he was a male doctor, and, there was a great deal more sexism there then.
Yeah.
When they do these papers, these white papers or whatever you want to call them, there are many names on the papers. So her name was on it, but hers was not the primary name on the paper.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Jesus. Sorry.
Thank you for that question. I didn't know that.
Yeah, me neither. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
We have a very big week ahead.
Yes, we do. You start.
Okay, remember these are my clown cards, so we need to go with the flow. We start with the moon card, and basically there are hidden things that are going to come up, surprise us. Some of them good, some of them we're not so happy about it. There's going to be things relating. I didn't ask in general, specifically for the LGBT community. I just did general, and I think that some of it is involving science and how we are going to care for. This is a mother. How the mother cares for her cubs, if you will. So it is going to be related to money and the support that we provide to the society. There is going to be a change somehow, a change of heart. And I hope this is about HR1 and no, it's not. There's going to be a change, an emotional change coming up, new things coming up, but it's also going to bring a little bit of anxiety. So people are going to take time to rest and think about it before they can embrace that change and move as a family or as a group towards that change. I don't know what the change is about. I went too quickly. What did you get?
I used a different deck. I used Keepers of the Light
Yes. Oh, it's a beautiful deck.
by Kyle Gray.
Yeah. Lisa loves that deck, I think. I think that's one deck that you use, Lisa, isn't it?
So the first card, I keep getting this card in almost every reading, Horus. And he is about the underworld. I don't mean hell. I mean basically the deep unconscious, the part of us that can access our deepest fears and goals and ideas. It also is about, sorry, another truck, about like the Akashic records almost, that kind of depth. In Egyptian mythology, that's the underworld. So it's a different concept than what we think of in Western thought. The second card is faith. So I really feel that we are being asked to hold ourselves and our planet very dear right now, that we're in a very precarious position right now as a planet. And
Yeah.
because, I mean, we see it with the weather patterns. The weather patterns are insane right now. The locusts have come back. There's floods, there's fires. I mean, this is very biblical right now.
Yeah.
So I think faith is asking us to really hold things close to our hearts and dear.
Yeah.
And then the last card, which kind of totally amazes me, this is the Ancestor Spirit card, White Eagle. And it's really saying, I do a lot of ancestor work. It's really saying to connect to our ancestors, both living and who have passed on, both known and unknown. I think it connects with the Horus. When we go into our deep unconscious, we can get ancestral memories.
Right.
Our ancestors also appear to us in our dreams. And there's your bird. Those that we've known, on Earth, that we were, grandparents or great-grandparents, but also those that we don't know about. So they have messages for us. I mean, it's a big deal right now.
Yeah.
And that we need to really listen and to hold the information very close to our hearts.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good. Do you have a card from your deck to give to us? Oh, you don't have that deck. I thought you had it when I first saw it.
No,
I thought it was your. I'm sorry. I'm talking to Lisa, and I don't even say it. I thought it was your Muse deck.
Sorry, Lisa. Didn't mean to interrupt. But I'll get a card on what to meditate on. Oh, ha ha ha, ha ha ha.
Soul Journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Journey of the Soul.
It's really important to take some time this week to really go within, to connect to spirit, higher source, whatever you call that, your higher source and your ancestors.
Fill up that Ace of Cups. Changes are coming. Fill it up.
Mm-hmm.
And remember your families and friends and love them unconditionally. Yeah. Yeah. So that's good. Well, thank you very much from everyone for everyone for joining us. Sorry we were kind of late.
Yeah, I apologize. Technical difficulties.
Exactly. That's not a problem. We've done. I've had a lot of technical difficulties with my live stream, unfortunately, but we're learning, and we'll have another happy Hump Back Day next week. So we'll talk again later. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And you have a great week, everyone. Bye. See you later. Bye.